All right. So, hi everyone. It's Jeff from HealthyNetworkMarketing.com. I am here tonight to give you guys a quick overview of a tool that I developed. I'm in my second office here, by the way. I'm in my garage because my kids are tearing the house apart. So I'm out here trying to find some peace and quiet so I can do this for you guys and get you some information on something that has really been a big help for me in terms of getting my business on track. When the year started this year in 2016, I was on the first day of the year call with our big team, and one of our top earners in the company, one of our mentors, he's certainly a mentor for me, was talking a lot about the importance of tracking your business. And I really took that to heart. I have been looking for an app that would allow me to track my activities, my volume, the stuff that I'm supposed to be doing on a daily basis that's really going to make my business click, make things, get that momentum that all of us are looking for. So I figured there had to be an app for that, right? Boy, was I wrong. I spent a lot of time searching through the app stores. There really isn't a lot when it comes to the specifics of what we need to be doing. And those come down to some simple things: your income producing activities, your law of averages, and your volume. It doesn't matter what business you're in. For those of you that are in the company that I'm in, this should be pretty relevant to you in terms of the criteria that we measure here. But frankly, it's probably pretty relevant to just about anybody that's in a network marketing business that is trying to grow it. So take that for what it's worth. This video is for the purpose of training the folks in my team. But if you're seeing it and you're not part of my team, here's maybe a good reason to be part of our team. HealthyNetworkMarketing.com is where you can do that. So, excuse me, let's get right into it. I'm going to jump into my screen share here. So what I did is I created an Excel workbook that allows me to track the activities that I'm supposed to be doing. More importantly, in that workbook is a dashboard for those three key things that I talked about: those income producing activities, your law of averages, and your volume. And I broke it down so you can look at it on the team level, and I'll take you through how we do all of this through some screen sharing that we'll do tonight, so that you guys, if you're in the Power Team Green or my team, then you should have access to this. If you're not on one of our teams, sorry guys, it is a private tool, a proprietary tool that we keep within our team. But if you're not part of the Purium business, like I said, there's a good reason to take a look at us. So let's jump right into it. This is an Excel workbook. So to use the tool, you are going to need Microsoft Excel on your computer. Ideally the latest version, because there are some things going on in here, some formulas and such that work better on some of the later versions. So keep that in mind. If you are struggling with it, if it's not doing what you thought it would be doing, maybe it's time to upgrade your version of Excel. For those of you that are looking at this on an iPad, I believe it's $10 at the App Store for the MS Excel app, and this should run on it. So like I said, great way to track your business, track your activity, track your growth, and it's all goal oriented. We should all be setting goals. So here we go with the screen share. Give me a second here. We'll open this up and get it going. All right, so here is what it looks like when you open up. So the first thing I want to point to everybody here is the tabs down at the bottom here. So there's the how-to guide, there's the enter your daily activities, there's your performance, et cetera, et cetera. So I would suggest everybody start at the how-to guide. Talks a little bit about why this tool was developed, why I put it together, and what it does. And it will also run you through step-by-step how to use the tool. So that being said, that's really all there is to say about that. Read it. Like anything else, you should read the owner's manual. Guys, too, you got to read the owner's manual, guys. But this will walk you through how to get started with this. So the tabs are kind of in order. So you want to start at the how-to guide. And then your next step, and I'm going to show you this, is your daily activities. And these are broken down into a few different criteria. So the first thing that you want to do when you open this up is you want to enter the month that you're in currently, and you just do that here. And from there, basically one of the general rules of this tool is if it's not yellow, you're not going to be able to change it. You're not going to be able to enter anything into it. And that's because it's locked to keep people from messing up the formulas and other stuff that's going on in the background on this. So any of these yellow spaces are where you want to be entering your data. And here's what you do. So you've got the days of the month across the top here. I recommend you try and do this every day. It is something that I do every day, and I find that when I am looking at this on a regular basis, it's forcing me to go and do some of these activities and not just track them. So when you look at a day and you realize that you haven't done much in a particular area, it might spur you to take some activity there. So key criteria that we are tracking are income producing activities, as I said up at the top here, and hopefully you guys can see my cursor swirling around at the top. And there are some key excuse me again, key activities as network marketers that we should all be doing every day. We should be adding people to our active list every day. So I track how many people do I add, and I keep a day timer actually, and every day I write down as I encounter new people and introduce them, give them a tool, whatever it is. I write their name down and I make sure that I follow up with this tool at the end of the day every day. So I'm adding people to my active list and I'm keeping track of that. I am also keeping track of the number of introductions that I do, whether it's a business introduction or whether it is a product introduction. If I added somebody to my active list because I ran into them that day, I want to keep track of what I said to them that day. Did I take them to that first step, that second step? So I keep track of that as well. How many people are you introducing your opportunity, product, or business to every day? Appointments. How many appointments are you setting? A wise man by the name of Eric Worre told me that the sooner I fill up my calendar with appointments, the sooner I am going to be successful in my business, and that is true. I'm living that experience. So I am now tracking my appointments, and I keep track of how many appointments I have in that day. I keep track of how many appointments I may have made for future days in that day. I keep track of the tools that I send, and this is a fairly big number for me. I send out emails, I send out texts, I hand out catalogs and flyers pretty regularly, so I am, again, tracking this on a regular basis. Another important part, and this is one of my failings often, so I watch this number closely, is my follow-ups. How many people are you following up with that day that you talked to before? The goal of all our interactions from a business perspective when you're talking to people is to move them to the next interaction. That next interaction happens with a follow-up. So when you're talking to somebody and introducing them to your opportunity, you want to make sure that you set a follow-up date with them to say, you know, I will give you a call in a couple of days once you've had a chance to look at this, and we'll talk more about it, and make a note and do that follow-up. Mark it down that you did a follow-up that day. Three-way calls. Three-way calls are very, very important in this business. If you're not doing them, you should. Take advantage of your upline. You will be amazed if you haven't done three-way calls, how much quicker you'll start bringing people into your business, either from a consumption point of view or from a I want to give out gift cards to everybody I know too point of view. So keep track of that. Three-way calls will literally make or break your business. So it's something I encourage my team to do. Frankly, we're not doing enough of them. We're going to do more of them. This is a tool that's going to help us do that. So my meetings is something that I keep track of. So how many meetings am I having? In the case of my business, that's healthy happy hours. That's business opportunity meetings, and I do them live and I do them online. So again, I try and keep that number fairly healthy every month. Excuse me, the downside of doing this from the garage. I also keep track of my team meetings, and those are meetings that my team members are having. I try and keep track of those on a regular basis. And one of the things that forces me to do is ask the question on a regular basis, are you having a meeting? And that forces me to call the people in my team and make sure that we are, excuse me, interacting and talking about our business. So The last criteria that I make sure I measure in my income producing activities is active enrolled. And, anybody that's on my team or in the business that I'm in knows exactly what that means. It's usually a pretty relevant term for just about any business. It's the number of people that are active in your business and qualified to help you earn and to set you into certain ranks and all of that good stuff. So certainly a measure you want to keep track of, and certainly a measure you want to force yourself to make that number go up. I've been in this business for about almost 2 years now. I'm a few months short of 2 years, but that's something that I've struggled with. My active enrolled number has stayed way too low, and again, this is something that is really forcing me to take the steps. Active enrolled is the last step. That's where you get people to hand over that credit card, make that commitment, go online, sign up, get a membership. And that's what the business is all about. So, I'm no longer setting goals for myself to make sure I have a certain number of active enrolled every month. I'm now setting a goal to go out and find new active enrolled every month. And I encourage everyone to do that. And hopefully this little tool will help you do that. So, income producing activities. Those are the things that produce income. It's kind of that simple. Those are the things that you need to be doing. You can certainly add to that list, and I'm open to feedback. If anybody out there is watching this and you are in the business that I'm in, and you have another criteria, another income producing activity that you feel strongly should be there, let me know, because I'm new to this too. So I would love to get your perspective, and if it makes sense to add it to the tool, we'll modify it, update it, and get it out to everybody. So for now, those are the things that I focus on, and I call it my performance. And what I'm going to do before I go to the law of averages side of tracking that is I'm going to show you what happens as you start to track your performance. And that's what this tab here labeled my performance is all about. So again, look for the yellow on the page. It's the only thing you want to be filling in. And in this case, it's your goals for the month. So let's say you've got 40 people that you want to have added to your active list this month. That's fantastic. I'm going to start filling in the numbers so you guys can see how this thing actually works. Introductions. Let's say I want to we'll just keep it simple. I'm going to make 6 introductions this month. I'm going to make sure that I have 8 appointments set this month. I'm going to send 12 tools out to people this month. I'm going to make sure I do 6 follow-ups with all of the stuff that's happening there. I'm going to do 4 three-way calls with my upline. I am going to hold 2 meetings this month, 2 healthy happy hours in the case of my business. And if you've got a team member or a couple of team members, let's say we've got a couple going here. So let's say you want to have one of those team members have their first healthy happy hour this month as well. And for the sake of keeping it relevant to my business and your business, hopefully, if you're watching, let's say you want to qualify to the executive level. So let's make sure you get 4 active enrolled in there this month. So you've set your goals. There's really nothing else that you can do on this page except now track. And the tracking happens from the daily activities that you're entering on the sheet that we saw before. And what this allows you to do is actually look at the different income producing activities, and you'll see in a second that this gauge will actually move with each of those activities that you choose. So this box right here, it's got the little drop down menu, is the same income producing activities that you see over here in the chart, and the same income producing activities that you are entering your data for on a regular basis. So it allows you to see where are you with your meetings towards your goal. And I'll show you how that works in just a second. So let's go back to the daily activities. And just for the sake of making this work, I'm going to enter some numbers here. So let's say we have, obviously the numbers that I enter here are going to spread out over the course of the month. And I'll explain how that affects the gauge in a second. But for the sake of showing you how this works, I'm going to just put some random numbers in here so that we've got an idea of what we're doing here. So let's say we've got 35 people on the active list. We have made 4 introductions. You've set 4 appointments. You've sent 7 tools out to people. You've done 3 follow-ups. You've had a 3-way call. You've had 1 meeting, and your team member also had that meeting as well. And you've got 3 active enrolled people in your business so far. So we've entered that data. So let's go back to the My Performance side and let's see what happens now. So you may have seen that that dial jump as soon as we came back to the page. So we're on the My Meetings section. So first thing you'll notice is we've gone to yellow. So this is turned from red to yellow. That's a good thing because you're moving out of the red danger zone of, uh-oh, nothing's going on in my business, to the yellow zone, to sort of the midway of where you want to be towards your goal. Now, I do want to say at this point that it's important to keep in mind where you are on the day of the month. We arbitrarily just put some numbers in on the first day of the month. Those active enrolled, for example, let's go look at that real quick. And I'm going to click here and I'm going to, let's look at added to active list. So I'm going to scroll up to the top. I'm going to click on added to active list. And look at that, we've gone green. So we are at 87.5% of the way to our goal. And that's what it's showing us here in the dial here as well. So you can see it here in the number. I like to see it visually. So it very quickly shows me, good, I'm in the green, I'm on track to where I want to be. So the one thing I want to make clear on this is, if we're on the first day of the month, let me see if I can find, let's go back to, real quick, to tools sent. And let's reduce that number to 2, just so I can give you a perspective on what's going to happen as your month progresses. So because you're only 2 days in the month, you've only worked 2 days of 30 towards your goal. So you've really only, you've got a long way to go still. So that will be reflected in the numbers that you see here. So if we go to tools sent, realistically, in the first couple of days of the month, you're going to want, you'll expect to see some reds. The key is you want to every day see that number growing and progressing through to yellow and then eventually green. And again, you can look at all the different criteria here and see where you are on each of those income producing activities. When you see red, when you see yellow, you need to spend a little bit more time there. When you see green, good, you're on track. Keep doing what you're doing. So nice, easy visual way to see what's going on with your business, any point in time, right now, real time. So you spend I spend probably a total of about 15 minutes a day keeping track of this, whether it's throughout the day as it's happening. If I get off the phone and I've made an appointment or I've sent a tool, I'll note that right away. If I haven't had the chance to do that, I'll make sure at the end of the day that I do that and make sure that I get those numbers recorded so that I can see the daily growth of what's happening in my business and in my income producing activities. So that's the tracking side of your income producing activities. And I'm going to take us back now to the daily activities, and we're going to look real quick at the other key part of this, which is your law of averages. So the question here becomes, sorry folks, I got Facebook stuff popping in here, so it's blocking out a section here, but that should fade out in a second. Let me just close that so that it does fade out. 1 second. There we go. So law of averages. Law of averages is a pretty simple concept. It is the number of people that say yes to your opportunity against the number of people that you propose it to. So if you are talking to 10 people in a day about your business opportunity and 2 of those people decide to sign up, your law of averages is 20%, 2 of 10. That's a pretty good law of averages, by the way. So it's a simple example, and unfortunately not that simple to keep the number up, because what tends to happen with this is you get your exposures up because you get better at getting and more comfortable at sharing your opportunity, your product opportunity, and your business opportunity with people. But you're still working on those other income producing activities, or those steps that get you to those active enrolled, which is the yes, really, in this case. Now, one of the things that I struggle with as I put these numbers in, and it's really up to you, is how you define your yes. I define my yes as somebody that actually enrolls, buys a pack. Doesn't have to be a member, can be a retail customer, can be a membership, can be a whatever, a business builder. But that's the criteria that I've set. Some people that I've talked to, and again, this is up to you. You can define that yes as somebody saying yes to the next encounter, the next exposure. And I'm okay with that, especially in the early stages, because it's going to give you a little more confidence. But I do challenge you that as you get better at this, and for the folks that have been doing this for a while that might be using this tool, set your benchmark high and decide what your yes criteria is going to be. Is it a purchase? Or is it an agreement to go to the next exposure? Up to you. But again, you may want to get a little more rigorous as you get further along in the business. So there's really two things you're tracking here. You're tracking your product exposures, and that's you introducing the product concept to somebody without going into the business. And then obviously there's the business exposure as well, which is the other side of that, which is exposing people to the business opportunity that you have. The other thing that you track is how many times people say yes to your product opportunity and how many times people say yes to your business opportunity. Now, keep in mind that as you put down your exposures for the day, that yes may not come for a few days, a lot of days, maybe even a few months. But it's always going to count towards your average, your law of average. So it's the exposures divided by it's the yeses divided by the exposures, which gives you a percentage of how you're doing. And we track that pretty rigorously as well. So again, we'll just drop some numbers in here so that you guys can see, and I'll put some very different numbers in here. So let's put 20 in for product exposure. Let's put 1 in, or let's put 3 in for business exposure. And let's say we got 1 business yes that day, and we got 2 product yeses that day. So let's now go back over to my law of averages, the next tab over from my performance, and we're going to take a look at that. But before we do, one of the things that we should do is put in our goals. So let's say we have product exposure goal of 30%. We have a business exposure goal of 20. Let's say we want to get 6 product yeses. That'd be 6 new enrollments for you that month. And you want to get 2 new business builders, two business yeses into your game as well. So your total yeses are 8 in this case. And you can work out what your percentage target is. These numbers are fairly lofty, I'll be honest with you. My law of average targets this month are certainly not 33%, but we'll just fill in some numbers so you guys can see what happens on the tracking side here. So let's say we want it to be 30% on the product side, we want it to be 50% on the business side, and our average on that is going to be 40% if you split them evenly. So now again, what we can do is we can come back over here. We can see where we are against our targets. So in this case, we're doing pretty well on our product exposures. We are about two-thirds of the way through our plan. And again, from a timing in the month point of view, if you're 2/3 into your month, then you're pretty much on target. So keep that in mind, again, benchmarking against where you are in your month as well as you go through this. So again, you can look at some of the different criteria here. Let's look at our business yeses. We're at 50% there. Let's see what else we can look at here. Sorry, I got stuff popping into my inbox that is getting in the way here. I don't think you guys can see that. So again, as we look at number of product yeses, makes sense here. We've got 2 of 6. We're at about 33%. We're still kind of in the red because we're not quite at that 50% mark where the colors start to change. So that's how that works. Again, law of averages, a really important number to keep a track of. It's a really important number to be working on every month. So you want to get better at the number of exposures that you can do. And obviously you want to get better at the number of yeses that you can do. And if you can track that on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, and get better every month, I can promise you that your business will get better every month as well. So that is law of averages. That's how that section works. And the last part is kind of what everybody likes to track. And there are a number of ways to track this. And a lot of this will come out of your back office. I like to pull the numbers out of my back office, and I'll show you why and how I do this, so that I can track it a little more deeply what's going on with my volume and with my team members' volume, so that I know when to reach out and where to reach out and help. So let's look at that for a second as well. And again, I'm going to go back to, actually, we'll go to the team volume page first, and we'll take a look at that. We're going to set some goals. So again, we will say that we want to be at the executive rank, so 6,000 here. And let's break that down into the people that are in your team. So builder 1, you want to see a consultant. Builder 2 is also going to be a consultant. Builder 3 is also going to be a consultant. Let's say builder 4, you've got somebody that's getting closer to director, so you want to try and build them to director, and that's 2,500 BV. So again, in the case of the business that I'm involved in, and a lot of you are, so that's going to take you to 5,500 if my math is correct. Now let's assume at the director level, or sorry, at the executive level, you've got those 4 key people. You're still looking for 5 and 6. 6 is the magic number in my world. I always want to be working with at least 6 people, ideally more. And as I get further along in my business, I'm going to expand that list to make sure that I'm tracking more and more people as I go. But for now, this is kind of focused on folks getting started, moving through those initial ranks, moving up into those middle ranks. And for the folks that are up at the top, we can talk at the next reward trip about setting something up for us at those levels. So anyhow, not that I'm there yet for some of those levels, but I am going there, and this tool is going to help me get there. So you've got all others, and that's everybody else that you might have in there. Let's put 500 in just to round out the number and make sure that that it adds up. And just for the sake of visuals, I'm going to put zeros in here just to keep track of that. So again, the gauge hasn't moved. We've set our goals. The goals are obviously something that you want to set at the beginning of every month. And I'll challenge you that, if you are crushing your goals by the 10th day of the month, you haven't set big enough goals. Set bigger goals for yourself and for your team, and make it bigger that month. So that's another great thing that this can show you is, if you're all in the red in the 10th day of the month, you got to go back and revisit some of that. And, there is potential being left on the table, and you should revisit your numbers to make sure you get all of that potential captured this month. So, same exercise as before. We're going to go back into daily activities. And for me, this is a simple matter of going into my back office, sorting through my key people, figuring out where their numbers are. And, there are some additional criteria that you want to keep in mind when you're dealing with your team members. You want to make sure that they're qualifying and that they've got the structures and the pieces of the puzzle happening in their team. But for the most part, I'm keeping track of volume so that they're hitting their ranks and doing what they need to do, and I can follow up on those other pieces as those numbers roll up. So again, we'll just use the first column here, but again, go into your back office every day. What I do is I actually go in first thing in the morning. I'm an early riser usually, so I am in kind of 6 a.m. Eastern time, which is usually kind of the dead zone for the system. So I can capture everything that happened and rolled up the night before and count that as yesterday. And I do that first thing in the morning, and then I wait and see what happens throughout the day. Sometimes if I've got time at the end of the night, I will make those calculations at the end of the night, and then I'll just double check them in the morning to make sure they're there. So let's say builder 1 is at 650. Let's say builder 2 is having a great month. They're at 900. Builder 3 again, is another consultant. They're struggling a little bit. They've only got 100 in the bank so far, and you've got that director that you're trying to build, and they're at 1,800 so far. So then you also have, oops, you also have, sorry, your total volume of, let's say you're at 5,000 of your 6,000. So you'll notice that one of the things that happened here is this column right here, the all others, basically calculated itself, and that's based on the total volume for the day that you enter. So you look at your total volume, then you enter in your team volume for your key leaders, and anything else that's not in there gets automatically calculated for you. So a little bit easier. Again, you just focus on getting those numbers in for your key builders and put your total number in for the day. And one of the things that I have added in the version that I'm using, I haven't actually rolled it into the version that I've published yet, but I'm actually showing below here now my daily growth versus the day before. So just to keep an eye on, where am I seeing the spikes in my business? Am I seeing patterns in that? Is it happening on the same day every week? That sort of stuff. So again, you can, well, you can't actually put that number in there because I've got this whole thing locked, but stay tuned. We'll get the update out to you guys soon on that. But visually you can see as well by your total volume numbers where your big days are also. So let's go back real quick to the team volume side of this. And again, you can see that the number jumped up. We're on total team. We are 83% of the way to the goal of 6,000 BV that month. And again, that's going to stretch over the 30 days or however many days in that month. But for the purposes of showing you what happens here, you can see I'm in the green. I'm where I want to be. I got a little bit more to make up. If I got a couple of days to do that, I got to hustle. If I got 10 days left to do that, I'm in pretty good shape because I've been able to deliver 83% of my month in just 2/3 of the number of days. So again, great way to benchmark. How am I doing? That's actually what the title is up here. How am I doing on my business volume? And you can look at the total team. The other great thing about this as well, and this one isn't working for some reason, so I'm just going to refresh this, but you should be able to. It's not showing us the builders, and I'll have to go and check that. But like the other sheets, you're able to actually go and see the other builders and see where they are. So in this case, builder 2 is 90% to the goal, so they're going to be in the green. Our builder 3 is only 10% to the goal, so they're going to be over here. And again, just visual benchmarks of where am I, how am I doing, what should I be doing more of. And again, I found this to be a really great tool for me. A lot of the folks in my team are now using it, getting themselves on track, getting themselves focused on the stuff they need to do, and getting themselves focused on hitting those ranks and goals that they want to get to as well. So with that, I am going to close it off. I tried to keep it as short as I can. I hope I was clear on everything. If not, feel free to shoot me an email. I'll give it to you now. It's Jeff, Jeff, at healthynetworkmarketingpro.com. And like I said, this was designed to help out my team members, some of my upline teammates, and I hope it helps you as well. If you're not part of our team, we run a really healthy business here. We not only do that, but we teach people how to run their businesses as well, and would love for you to be a part of it. If you want to be a part of that, I've got a team. Come on over, www.healthynetworkmarketing.com. Would love to have you there. You can follow me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is at 10 days to health. The 10 and the 2 are numbers. That's also my Periscope handle. Occasionally do some trainings there as well. And I look forward to seeing you guys all soon. Thanks so much for your time. I really hope this tool is helpful to you. If you don't have it, go to your team site, go to your upline, see if you can get a hold of it. They usually will know where to find me. If you're not part of one of our teams and you're in our business, sorry, it's kind of a secret, but if you're not in our business and you want to be, you know where to go. I've said it enough times in this video. Thanks so much for your time, everybody. Have a great night.